The morning started like any other aboard the UES Defiant. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair, watching the stars drift past on the main screen. His ship was on patrol duty in the Outer Rim, checking trade routes and making sure pirates stayed away from merchant vessels. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. Jake had been in space for 15 years now. He joined the Earth Defense Force when he was 22, fresh out of the academy with big dreams of exploring the galaxy. Now at 37, he still loved space, but the excitement had worn off. Most days were just routine scans and paperwork. His tactical officer, Ben Carter, looked up from his station. "Captain, I'm getting something strange on long-range sensors." "What kind of strange?" Jake asked, straightening in his chair. "It's a signal, sir. Very weak, but it's definitely artificial. Looks like a distress call." Jake walked over to Ben's station. The young officer had only been on his crew for 6 months, but he was good at his job. "Can you clean it up?" Ben's fingers danced over his controls. "Working on it now, sir. The signal is coming from the Luminara system. That's about 3 days away at maximum speed." The communications officer, Maria Santos, turned around. "Captain, I'm picking up the transmission now. It's in universal code, but the translation is rough." "Put it on speakers," Jake ordered. The bridge filled with a strange, musical voice. Even through the static and poor translation, there was something beautiful about it. But there was also fear. "Please, anyone who can hear this message. We are the Zalani people of Luminara. We need help. Our world is being destroyed. Our people are dying. We have never known war, but now it has come to us. The Korthak Empire has invaded our home. They take our people as slaves. They destroy our cities. We have technology to share, knowledge to give, but we cannot fight them. Please, if there is anyone in the stars who values life, help us." The message repeated several times, then cut. Too static. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Jake had heard distress calls before, but this one was different. There was something pure about it, innocent in a way that made his chest tight. "Maria, send this to Earth Command immediately." "Highest priority, yes, sir." Jake looked at the star chart on the main screen. The Luminara system was marked as unexplored territory. Earth had made contact with dozens of alien species over the past 50 years, but the Zalani were new. "Ben, what do we know about this Korthak Empire?" Ben pulled up files on his screen. "Not much, sir. Intelligence reports mention them as a militaristic species from the far side of the galaxy. They're known for conquering weaker civilizations and stripping their worlds of resources. Earth has never had direct contact with them." Jake nodded. "The Zalani? No record of them either, sir. But based on that transmission, they seem to be a peaceful species with advanced technology." 2 hours later, Jake received a call from Admiral Lisa Harper at Earth Command. Her face appeared on the main screen, looking serious. "Jake, we received your transmission. What's your assessment?" "It's genuine, Admiral." The fear in that voice was real. "These people are in serious trouble." Admiral Harper nodded. "We're getting reports from other sources now. The Zalani have been sending that distress call for weeks. As far as we can tell, no one in the galaxy has responded." "Why not?" "Because most species see them as weak. The Zalani have no military, no weapons, no way to fight back. Other civilizations don't want to risk a war with the Korthak Empire over a species that can't defend itself." Jake felt anger building in his chest. "So they're just going to let them die?" "That's how the galaxy works, Jake. The strong survive, the weak perish. It's been that way for thousands of years." "That's not how Earth works." Admiral Harper smiled grimly. "No, it's not. That's why I'm authorizing you to proceed to the Luminara system. Take your ship and conduct a reconnaissance mission. We need to know exactly what we're dealing with before we make any decisions." "Understood, Admiral. Jake, be careful. If they detect your ship, don't engage. Observe and report back." "Yes, ma'am." The transmission ended, and Jake turned to his crew. "You heard the Admiral. Set course for Luminara, maximum speed." as the Defiant jumped faster than light travel. Jake stood in his ready room, looking out at the swirling colors of hyperspace. He thought about the voice in that transmission, so full of pain and hope at the same time. Jake had studied Earth's history. He knew about the wars, the suffering, the times when evil seemed to win. But he also knew that throughout history, there had always been people willing to stand up for those who couldn't fight for themselves. It was what made humans different from many other species in the galaxy. 3 days later, the Defiant dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Luminara system. What they saw made the entire bridge crew gasp. The star system that should have been beautiful was filled with massive, dark ships. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, all bearing the brutal markings of the Korthak Empire. They moved like a swarm of insects around the planets, blocking out the light of the sun. "My God," Maria whispered. Jake stared at the scene in front of them. The third planet, which should have been the Zilani homeworld, was partially covered in a dark cloud. Even from this distance, they could see flashes of light on the surface. Explosions, weapons, fire, destruction. Ben, scan the system. To know everything? Ben's hands shook slightly as he worked his controls. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the planet. It looks like the Korthak are using some kind of mining equipment on a planetary scale. And, sir, I'm detecting faint life signs, but they're decreasing." "Decreasing how fast?" "At the current rate, the population will be gone in less than 6 months." Jake closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, his jaw was set with determination. "Take us in closer. But keep us hidden behind that asteroid field." "Sir, that's very dangerous. If they detect us, ... They won't. These ships are old and powerful, but they're not built for stealth. We'll stay quiet and get a better look." As the Defiant moved deeper into the system, more details became clear. The Korthak ships were enormous, built for war and intimidation. They had no beauty, no grace, just raw power and brutality. Around the planet, smaller ships moved like vultures, carrying cargo up from the surface. "Captain," Maria said quietly, "I'm picking up another transmission from the planet. Put it through." The same musical voice filled the bridge, but now it was weaker, more desperate. "Please, if anyone is listening, we are running out of time. They take more of our people every day. Our children cry for parents who will never return. We offer everything we have, all our knowledge, all our technology, for just a chance to survive. Please, someone help us." Jake looked around at his crew. He saw the same anger and determination in their faces that he felt in his heart. These were good people, the kind who joined the defense force to protect others, not for glory or power. "Maria, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we've confirmed the situation. The Zilani are facing genocide, and we're the only ones who can stop it." "What should I tell them about our recommendations, sir?" Jake looked back at the screen, watching the dark ships circle the dying planet like sharks around wounded prey. "Tell them it's time to show the galaxy what humans do when innocent people cry for help." The Defiant moved carefully through the asteroid field, staying hidden from the Korthak fleet. Captain Jake Morrison watched the main screen as more details of the invasion became clear. What he saw made his stomach turn. The planet Luminara had once been beautiful. Even through the smoke and destruction, Jake could see the remains of crystal cities that had sparkled like jewels across the surface. Now, most of them were broken ruins, their pieces scattered like shattered glass. "Can you get us a closer look at the surface?" Jake asked. Ben Carter worked his controls, enhancing the ship's sensors. "Switching to surface scan now, Captain." The image that appeared on screen made everyone on the bridge go silent. Across the planet's surface, huge machines were tearing into the ground. They looked like mechanical monsters, ripping apart the beautiful crystal formations and loading the pieces into cargo. Ships. But the worst part was what Jake could see moving around the machines. Small figures, barely visible from orbit, working in long lines. Even from space, it was clear they were being forced to work. "Those are the Zilani," Maria Santos said quietly. They're using them as slaves. Jake's hands gripped the arms of his command chair. He had seen bad things in his years in space, but this was different. This was organized cruelty on a massive scale. Take us lower, he ordered. I want to see what we're really dealing with. The Defiant descended through the upper atmosphere, its stealth systems keeping it hidden from Korthok sensors. As they got closer, the true horror of the situation became clear. Millions of Zilani were working in massive open pits, their crystal bodies dim and gray instead of the bright colors they should have been. Korthok guards, tall and armored-like. Walking tanks stood over them with energy weapons. The aliens looked like they were made of metal and hate, with no faces that could show mercy. Captain, Maria said, her voice shaking, I'm picking up energy readings from the Zilani workers. It looks like the Korthok are draining their life force to power their machines. Jake felt sick. They're using them as living batteries. Sir, the Zilani naturally store and generate energy. The Korthok have found a way to extract it. Ben pulled up more sensor data. Sir, I'm detecting thousands of smaller facilities across the planet. It looks like they've separated families. The children are being used in the most dangerous mining operations. Jake closed his eyes for a moment, trying to control his anger. When he opened them, his voice was deadly calm. Give me everything. Population numbers, facility locations, guard positions. Want to know exactly what we're dealing with. Want to make for the next several hours, the Defiant orbited the planet, gathering intelligence. The picture that emerged was worse than anyone had imagined. Of the 2 billion Zilani that had once lived on Luminara, fewer than 800 million were still alive. The rest had been worked to death or killed when they could no longer produce energy. Captain, Maria called out, I'm getting a transmission. From the planet's surface. It's very weak. Put it through. The voice that came through the speakers was barely a whisper, but it was definitely Zilani. Human ship, we know you are there. Please do not leave us. We are Elder Kristen, leader of what remains of our people. You can hear this, please. Respond. Jake looked at his crew. This was dangerous. If the Korthok detected their transmission, they would be discovered. But they couldn't ignore the plea. Maria, open a channel. Tight beam, lowest power. Channel open, sir. Elder Kristen, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Defiant. We received your distress call. We're here to help. There was a long pause. Then the voice came back stronger, filled with hope. Captain Morrison, we had given up hope. That anyone would come. Can you save us? Jake looked at the massive Korthok fleet surrounding the planet. 200 warships, orbital weapons platforms, and millions of ground troops. His one ship didn't stand a chance against them. We're going to try, he said. Can you tell us where you are? We are hidden in the crystal caves beneath Mount Harmony. In the northern continent, most of our remaining leaders are here, but we cannot stay hidden much longer. The Korthok are using scanning equipment to find us. How many of you are there? In this location, perhaps 50,000, but across the planet, millions more suffer in their camps. Captain, they are killing us slowly. Each day, thousands more of our people die. Our children. The voice broke. Our children are dying, Captain. Jake's jaw tightened. Elder Kristen, I need you to send us all the information you can about Korthok positions, their technology, their weaknesses, anything that might help us. We will transmit everything we have, but Captain, you must know they are very powerful. Their ships carry weapons that can destroy entire cities. Their ground forces have shields that protect them from our energy attacks. We tried to fight when they first came, but we are not warriors. We never learned how to hurt others. The transmission ended and data began flowing into the Defiance. Computers.
Wow.
Jake studied the information, his expression growing darker with each report. The Korthok had been planning this invasion for years. They had studied the Zilani, learned about their peaceful nature, and designed their attack to cause maximum suffering. They didn't just want the Zilani's resources, they enjoyed the cruelty. Captain Ben said, I'm reading movement in the SDS. Korthok fleet. One of their command ships is moving toward our position. Jake looked at the tactical display. A massive Korthok battleship was heading straight for their hiding spot among the asteroids. They found us? He asked. No, sir. They're sending out a general broadcast. Put it on screen. The face that appeared was nightmare fuel. The Korthok commander looked like a walking tank, with metal plates covering most of his head and glowing red eyes. When he spoke, his voice sounded like grinding metal. Unknown vessel, this is Warlord Brazek of the Korthok Empire. We'll identify yourself immediately and prepare to be boarded. Any attempt to flee or fight will result in your immediate destruction. Jake stood up from his command chair. Open a channel, Captain Maria warned. If we respond, they'll pinpoint our location. Do it. The channel opened, and Jake stared directly into the alien's red eyes. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth ship Defiant. You're in violation of galactic law by committing genocide against the Zalani people. Warlord Brazek's metal face twisted into what might have been a smile. Galactic law? There's no law except strength, human. The Zalani are weak, therefore. They serve us. Your species is unknown to me. Are you here to join them in slavery, or will you be wise and leave? We're here to stop you. The Korthok commander laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Stop us. You have one small ship. I have 200 warships and 10 million soldiers. What can one human vessel do against the might of the Korthok Empire? Jake smiled grimly. You're about to find out. He made a cutting motion across his throat, and Maria ended the transmission. Ben, send everything we've learned to Earth Command. Highest priority, full military encryption. Already done, sir. Now get us out of here. We need to stay hidden until the cavalry arrives. As the Defiant slipped away into the darkness between the asteroids, Jake looked one more time at the dying planet below. Millions of innocent people were suffering while the galaxy looked the other way. But they weren't alone anymore. Humanity was coming, and the Korthok were about to learn why that was a very bad thing for anyone who hurt the innocent. Set course for the system edge, Jake ordered. Start preparing detailed battle plans. We're going to need them. 3 weeks after Captain Jake Morrison's report reached Earth, 50 warships waited in perfect formation, their weapons charged and crews ready for battle. Fleet. Admiral Ryan Brooks stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance, studying the tactical displays. But this war was different. This time, they weren't fighting for territory or resources. They were fighting to save innocent lives. Admiral, his communications officer reported, all ships are in position and ready for your orders. Ryan nodded. The fleet looked impressive, but he knew the Korthok had 4 times as many ships. In a straight fight, the humans would lose badly. But humans had never been ones to fight fair when lives were on the line. Signal Captain Lisa Wright. Tell her Ghost Squadron is cleared for operation. 3 weeks earlier, while the main fleet was being assembled, 5 human stealth ships had slipped into Korthok space. They were small, fast, and almost invisible to sensors. For the past 21 days, they had been causing chaos behind enemy. Lines Captain Lisa Wright commanded one of these ghost ships from her bridge aboard the UES Shadow. She was only 32, but she had learned warfare in the asteroid belts where pirates hid and mercy was a luxury no one could afford. Target confirmed, her weapons officer reported. Korthak Supply Depot, lightly defended. Take it out, Lisa ordered. The Shadow's missiles streaked through space, destroying a massive ammunition storage facility. It was the 15th supply depot they had hit this week. The Korthak were starting to run low on weapons and fuel, but the real psychological warfare was being conducted by Colonel Dan Miller. His team had been broadcasting messages into Korthok communication networks for days. Unlike other species who made formal declarations of war, the humans sent something much more terrifying. The broadcasts showed scenes from human history. Ancient warriors charging into battle against impossible odds.
Our soldiers.
house in ruined cities. Pilots flying suicide missions to save their friends. Tank crews refusing to retreat even when surrounded. Marines storming beaches under heavy fire. The message was simple. Humans don't surrender. They don't retreat, and they never stop fighting until their enemies are completely destroyed. The Korthok had conquered dozens of worlds, but they had never faced anything like this. Other species fought with honor, following rules of war. They would surrender when defeat was certain, but these human broadcasts showed a species that would rather die than lose. That treated war not as a game, but as a fight for survival. Warlord Brazik watched the human videos on his command ship, his metal face showing no emotion, but inside, he was beginning to feel something he had never experienced before. Doubt, Commander, his aide reported. We've lost another 3 supply convoys. The humans are hitting targets across our entire supply line. How many ships? Intelligence believes it's only 5 or 6 stealth vessels, my lord. Brazik slammed his fist on the command console. 6 ships were causing more damage than entire fleets had managed in previous wars. These humans fought like ghosts, striking without warning and disappearing before retaliation was possible. Double the patrol schedules. I want every supply ship escorted by at least 4 warships. Yes, my lord. But sir, that will reduce our available forces for the main battle by almost 40%, Brazik growled. The humans were forcing him to choose between protecting his supplies and maintaining his overwhelming advantage. It was a clever strategy, one that showed these creatures understood war better than he had expected. Back with the human fleet, Admiral Brooks was ready to begin the main assault. But first he needed to rescue as many Zilani civilians as possible. Send in the Marine teams, he ordered. Lieutenant Sam Foster led the first wave of rescue shuttles toward the planet's surface. This was 28, built like a football player, and had volunteered for the most dangerous part of the mission. His job was to land near the labor camps and extract as many Zilani as possible before the main battle began. Remember, he told his Marines over the radio? These people have been tortured for months. They're weak, they're scared, and they've never seen anything like us. Be gentle, but be fast. We don't have much time. Shuttles drop through the atmosphere like falling stars, their stealth systems hiding them from Korthok sensors. They landed near a labor camp, where 10,000 Zilani were being forced to work in the crystal mines. Sam's team hit the Korthok guards like a storm. Within minutes, the camp was secured. The Zilani workers looked up at their rescuers in amazement. They fought with a combination of advanced weapons and raw determination that the Zilani had never seen before. We're here to help, Sam told them, his translator converting his words into their musical language. We're going to get you out of here. The ones Elder Kristen told us about? Yes, we are. And we're going to make sure the Korthok never hurt you again. Child's crystal body began to glow brighter. The first time Sam had seen a Zilani showed their natural light since arriving. My parents said no one would come to help us. They said the galaxy didn't care about weak people. Sam knelt down to the child's level. Your parents were wrong about humans, kid. We care very much. As the rescue shuttles filled with freed Zilani, more Marine teams were hitting camps across the planet. Sergeant Kevin Blake led a team that fought through 5 miles of enemy territory to reach a camp where Zilani children were being held. When his ammunition ran low, he and his men fought with knives and bare hands rather than leave anyone behind. The Korthok were learning that human tactics were unlike anything they had faced. While other species announced their attacks with formal challenges, humans struck without warning. While others fought for honor or glory, humans fought with a desperate fury that terrified their enemies. Captain Nina Cross was flying a captured Korthok command ship directly toward the main orbital defense platform. Her mission was simple: destroy the station's shields so the rescue shuttles could escape safely. Nina, you don't have to do this, Admiral Brooks said over the radio. We can find another way. Admiral, there are 50,000 Zilani on those shuttles, children, families, people who deserve to see their world free again. This is the only way to guarantee they make it out. The station's shields collapsed across both fleets. Tell the Zilani that some things are worth dying for. Tell them that humans always keep their promises. Admiral, Brooks watched the tactical display as more Korthok ships moved to intercept the fleeing shuttles. The first phase of the rescue was complete, but now came the hard part. All ships? This is Admiral Brooks. The human fleet charged toward the Korthok positions, and the real battle was about to begin. The space above Luminara erupted into the largest battle the galaxy had seen in centuries. Admiral Ryan Brooks watched from the bridge of the Vengeance as his fleet engaged the Korthok armada. The enemy had more ships, but the humans had something. The Korthok didn't understand a willingness to take any risk to protect innocent lives. All fighters, launch now. Brooks ordered. Commander Ashley Davis led the first wave of human fighters toward the Korthok battleships. She was 29, the daughter of a cargo pilot, had learned to fly in the dangerous asteroid fields around Earth's outer colonies. "Phoenix Squadron, follow my lead," she called over the radio. "Target their weapon systems, not their engines. We want them disabled, not destroyed. There might be Zilani prisoners on those ships." The human fighters swarmed around the massive Korthok vessels like angry hornets. Instead of the traditional ship-to-ship combat the Korthok expected, the humans used hit-and-run tactics that confused and frustrated their enemies. Ashley dove her fighter under, a Korthok cruiser firing precisely at its weapon ports. Another gun, battery down. Keep hitting them where it hurts. No. On the surface of Luminara, Captain Tony Clark was coordinating the orbital bombardment. His job was to destroy every Korthok military installation on the planet, but with surgical precision that wouldn't harm the Zilani workers still trapped in the camps. Target coordinates confirmed, his weapons officer reported. Korthok, command bunker, northern continent, fire. The beam of energy from the Vengeance struck the bunker with pinpoint accuracy. Building vanished in a flash of light, but the Zilani work camp just 2 miles away remained untouched. It was a demonstration of human precision that amazed. The surviving Zilani leaders watching from their hiding places, Elder Kristen stood in the crystal caves, watching the battle through the enhanced vision systems the humans had given him. "They fight with such control," he told his advisors. "They could destroy everything, but they choose to protect us instead." The space battle was turning in humanity's favor, but Admiral Brooks knew the hardest part was still coming. Warlord Brazek was trying to retreat with his remaining forces, and the Zilani prisoners still aboard his ships. "Commander Steve Miller, take your squadron and pursue the fleeing ships," Brooks ordered. "Don't let any of them escape." Steve Miller was a veteran of the Outer Rim Wars, a man who understood that mercy shown to genocidal enemies was cruelty to their future victims. His ships chased the retreating Korthok fleet across 3 star systems, hunting them down one by one. "Admiral, we have the enemy commander's ship surrounded," Steve reported. "He's requesting permission to surrender." Brooks thought about the millions of Zilani who had died, the children who had been worked to death in the mines, the families that had been torn apart. Negative. No surrender accepted. These criminals will face justice. The final battle took place at a Korthok forward base in the Nexus system. When the human fleet arrived, they found Warlord Brazek's remaining ships clustered around a massive space station filled with weapons and supplies. "This is Warlord Brazek," came the transmission from the station. "I offer you terms. Withdraw your forces, and I will release the Zilani prisoners. Continue this attack, and they will all die." Admiral Brooks stood on his bridge looking at the tactical display. The station held 50,000 Zilani prisoners, but it was also the heart of Korthok power in this region. If they let it survive, the Korthok would rebuild and attack other innocent worlds. "Open a channel," Brooks ordered. "Channel open, sir." "Warlord Brazek, this is Admiral Brooks. You have exactly 10 minutes to release all prisoners and surrender your forces. After that, we will destroy everything you have built. If you would risk the lives of innocents for your revenge." "We're not here for revenge. We're here to make sure you never hurt anyone again." Brooks closed the channel and turned to his weapons. "Officer, prepare the virus package. Target their life support systems." What the Korthok didn't know was that engineer Amy Rodriguez had spent weeks developing a computer virus specifically designed to target Korthok technology. Instead of destroying the station, it would shut down only the military systems while leaving life support intact. Virus deployed. Amy reported from her position in the fleet's cyber warfare center. Their weapons are going offline now. Across the Korthok station, defense systems failed one by one. The aliens who had terrorized innocent worlds for centuries found themselves helpless as their own technology turned against them. All Korthok vessels, this is your final warning, Brooks announced. Release the prisoners and surrender, or we will board your ships and take them by force. Ship to comply released its Zilani prisoners and escape pods. Human rescue teams quickly collected them, providing medical care and comfort to beings who had given up hope of ever seeing freedom again. But Warlord Brazek refused to surrender. From his command ship, he sent one final transmission that would become infamous across the galaxy. You think you have one, humans? We are the Korthok Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We'll rebuild, and we will return. Admiral Brooks smiled grimly. No, you won't. The human fleet systematically destroyed every Korthok ship, base, and weapon in the system. But they did more than just win a battle. They sent a message to the entire galaxy that would be remembered for generations. When the last Korthok ship was destroyed, Brooks ordered his communications officer to broadcast on all frequencies in every known language. This is Admiral Ryan Brooks of the Earth Defense Force. Let it be known throughout the galaxy that any species that enslaves innocent beings, commits genocide against peaceful peoples, that preys upon those who cannot defend themselves will face the full wrath of humanity. We will find you, we will stop you, and we will make sure you never hurt anyone again. 3 months later, Ambassador Carol White stood in the crystal city of New Harmony on Luminara. The Zilani had rebuilt their capital with human help, combining their beautiful crystal architecture with human defensive technology. Elder Kristen approached her, his crystal body glowing bright blue with happiness. Ambassador White, our people will never forget what humanity did for us. You saved us when no one else would. Carol smiled. That's what friends do for each other, Elder Kristen. Around them, Zilani children played in gardens that had been built, where Korthak labor camps once stood. Human engineers worked alongside Zilani scientists, sharing technology and knowledge. In an orbit above the planet, the Earth Defense Station Vengeance kept watch, ensuring that peace would be protected. Elder Kristen Carroll said, "We've received requests from 47 different species asking for diplomatic relations with humanity, it seems. Word has spread about what happened here. And what will you tell them? The same thing we told you. Humanity stands with those who cry for help. Protect the innocent, and we stop those who would harm them." As the sun set. Over Luminara, painting the crystal spires in brilliant colors, a new era began for the galaxy. The Korthok Empire was broken, their surviving ships scattered and afraid. Other predator species thought twice before attacking peaceful worlds. Knowing that somewhere among the stars, humans were watching, and in the crystal caves where the Zilani had once hidden in terror, children now sang songs about the humans who came from Earth, who crossed the galaxy to answer a cry for help, and who proved that sometimes the strongest thing in the universe is the willingness to fight. For those who cannot fight for themselves, the galaxy had learned that while humans might be newcomers to the stars, they brought with them something that had been missing for too long: hope for the innocent and fear for those who would harm them.